feel it in my bones, I can feel it in my veins. Hands in the sky, I can feel the winds of change. You live and you learn, and I hope I've seen enough to make something right and make up for what I've lost. I was down, but things are looking up. I wanna get high on you.
For me, it's bittersweet because yesterday we took our last walk on the beach.
I know, that's sad.
So this is our goodbye walk on the beach here at Surfside because we're getting ready to move inland to the hill country in Fredericksburg.
So this is going to be our last 5-mile walk on the beach.
5 miles? I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah, you did.
How did I sign up for 5 miles?
We've done 5 miles often on the beach. At least 4, and then sometimes 5.
Well,
I have proof. I can show you.
There's a big difference between 4 and 5 miles. It's like a whole mile.
I have proof. I can show you that you've done 5 miles.
All right. We're doing a RV travel day tips video, and I guess tip number 1 is
do your dishes.
Do your dishes. Because you can't get stuff put away until everything's ready to be put away.
Right.
So this is the day before travel day. Travel day's tomorrow.
Yep.
But there are things that we both do the day before and the day of to make the whole process a lot easier, because the last thing that you want is your travel day to be stressful.
Hectic. No, we don't want no hectic. If you didn't stay to the end of my kitchen organization video, where I talked a little bit about our travel days, you'll see that I have these styrofoam things that go in between my plates. Because I do like glass plates and I don't want them to get chipped, I just put one of these little styrofoam things in between each plate. Just like that. And then you stack them and they don't rattle and they won't chip. I also have the styrofoam thing in between my bowls. Same type of thing. And that way the bowls don't rattle. And that's all I do. So on 24 hours in advance for our move day, pretty much putting the plates away and putting the glasses away is all I really have to do. Now, as far as the coffee maker, I have this cabinet up here, and I will just kind of move things around up here, put my coffee maker up here, and that is done. And then, of course, the Ninja Foodie will go on the floor in front of the stove and the sink here. And, you know, everything else you just kind of put up in the cabinets just to put it away. And that is all that we do. Now, tomorrow, when we actually get ready to move, I'll show you a special tip that I do with these cabinets. But you have to hang around and find out what happens. After I finished everything in the kitchen, then I'm going to put away my little knickknacks that I have up here on the shelves and all of the other places around.
Stretch it out. Get on your tiptoes.
Keep it up and I'll let you put these away.
Mm.
So because our RV is our home, I do like to have little things that make it feel homey, like you would have in a Sticks and Bricks. And I have a special place for them in the desk here that just stays empty when we're sitting still. So I have a place to put them all when we get ready to move. So now I'm going to just pack all of those up.
Now, some of them you don't have to take down.
Some of them I do not have to take down, such as these ones over here. So this one here, I have command stripped, so it doesn't move. The bird, I have a heavy-duty Velcro on the bird, so he won't move. We have those Velcro command hooks on this, and it hasn't moved. And so I have a few of them that I don't have to worry about moving. Yes, I stood on the couch.
So basically you decide which ones are you're going to Velcro based on where they're going, right?
Where they're going, because if I Velcroed this, I would not be able to open this cabinet without hitting it. So,
right.
And it's easy to move.
There you go.
Oh boy. I have to get on a chair.
Would you rather? Here, let's just swap out real quick. I can reach those so you don't fall. You know, Safety Dan says, don't overextend.
Hey, why don't you get those down for me?
That's pretty easy.
Don't forget the shells up there too.
There you go. All right, back to you.
So I don't know about you, but one thing that I like to do, and Gordon calls me crazy, is I like to collect something from places that we have gone. I could tell you where I get everything. Of course, we got this at the sea. Where have we been all winter?
What does it say?
At the sea. I need vitamin C, SEA. We got this guy in New Hampshire because Annalee Dolls is very popular in New Hampshire, and I had received several of them as gifts when we used to live there.
All right, this is a packing travel day video, not a check out my little knickknacks video.
I just love all my little things.
So what's next?
All right, so I'm gonna just put all of these in the drawer. So Gordon told me that once that drawer's full, I won't be able to buy any more knickknacks. What he doesn't know is I have another drawer. So some of the other things that you can do 24 hours before you depart to your new place is you can do your laundry, you could go grocery shopping because you don't know what you're going to have available where you are going. Sometimes we do that. You can do house cleaning. I like to clean house. It's like going on vacation, and then when you come home, you want to come home to a clean house. Even though we're taking our house with us, for some reason, I like to have a clean house when we arrive at our new place. It just feels like, it feels good.
Well, it's easier to clean when it's empty.
When everything is
put
all,
away.
right? When everything is all put away, it's so much easier to go through and dust and clean. So I do that once a month when we move, is I'll take the pledge and I'll do all of the woods and stuff too, because it's just so much easier after I put everything away. So all of the straps that you see me using in the kitchen on the cupboards and here with the shower head are just a Velcro strap, and I just wrap this around the shower head, and it's so easy and it has never fallen, so it can't break my glass.
So today's the day before our RV trip, and I usually start out the day before doing things like checking my tire pressure. So I just use my digital tire pressure gauge, which has always been within, you know, half a pound or a pound of my TPMS, so it's good. And then I just check all the air pressures on my tires. So that's good. So I know that during the last month I haven't lost any air pressure, so I'll do this on all my tires, and I will also check my torque while I'm at it. This is where a lot of the fun happens, right? So every couple of months I lift the trailer up to take the load off of it and put some grease in the wet bolts and grease those. But day before departure I always inspect. Okay, so I've got hangers here. I'm looking at these welds to make sure that the welds look fine. I'm gonna look to make sure that there doesn't appear to be any kind of cracking or anything. One of the things I really like that they do with the Riverstone is they've strengthened it by putting this extra metal in here and this up here to add extra support, but that still doesn't mean you don't need to check it. So I will get underneath the trailer and I'll check my hangers, shackles, and make sure that everything with the suspension looks good and that I'm not gonna have a problem tomorrow, because finding something today gives me today to try and fix it rather than finding it tomorrow when we're supposed to be on the road going somewhere. So now I'm going to crawl underneath to where I can look at the other side as well, because it's important that you look on both sides of the hangers and shackles, look down the leaf springs, make sure that your leaf springs and everything look good, and you got to do both sides, right? Okay, so now I'm underneath the trailer. So again, here's where the leaf spring ties in on the back side. So I'm looking at these welds as well to make sure that those are good, and making sure that these aren't loose. Looking at my little strap way over here, Make sure that's still in place. And then checking the backside again of the suspension and the hangers and all that. Everything looks good right now, so I don't see any issues on this side. So now I'm going to go to the other side and do the exact same thing. Oh, another thing. Sorry, I thought about another thing I needed to tell you. So another thing is check your wires. All the wires that are going into here, these are your brake connections. Believe it or not, we did have one of these wires bust loose on our Surveyor when we had that little tow behind Surveyor, and I got lucky enough that when I was doing kind of a tight turn in my rear view mirror, I noticed that it was hanging down and saw it. So check your wiring and make sure your wiring and everything looks good as well while you're down here. So this side all looks good too. I guess I can take off this packing list envelope. We don't need that anymore.
Just clean things up, dear. Just
right?
Clean things up.
Yeah. So another thing that you can do while you're crawling around underneath here, I'm going to do a leak test. So if we had a leak that had been going on for any period of time, there'd be some weight on that, and there's no weight, as you can tell, and you'd probably hear it sloshing around if there was a puddle in there. Nothing going on there. So every now and then it doesn't hurt to just kind of push up on things. All right, now I'm going to get out from underneath this thing because I've been under here long enough.
Spare tire looks good.
All right, so the B&W Companion Hitch. It's been a couple months it's been on the truck. It's time to do a little maintenance. So today's the day before our trip, so I'm going to do some maintenance on it. So there's a couple things you need to check. One, there is a Zerks fitting, so you need to put a little grease in the Zerks. And two, where this rests, you're supposed to use some white lithium grease and put a little grease on that just to keep everything lubed up the way it should be. It's really simple to do. In essence, you just pull this pin from here, this pin from the other side, set them aside, don't lose them. Pull out that pin, pull out that pin, and this is where it gets to be a challenge. You gotta lift this thing off of here. Luckily though, they do give you these lovely handles to do it with, so that helps.
Don't forget to grunt.
Ugh. All right. Okay, so on the other side, the underside of the hitch head is this Zerks right here for the, I'll call it side to side rotation. So you just hook up to it every now and then, squirt a little grease in it, and see. So I'm just gonna back off. Hook up to it, give it a couple pumps. All right, I see some grease starting to come out up here, so we're gonna call that good. And I do this every couple of months. These right here are what you're supposed to use the white lithium grease on. Even in the owner's manual, they give you a small packet of white lithium grease when you first put the hitch together to put in the back of your truck to lube this up. So I'm gonna take my can of white lithium grease, we're going to give it a little grease action. And then we're going to clean up the mess.
I thought you said a little grease.
Well,
that seems like a whole bunch of grease.
It is a whole bunch of grease, but you know, the back of the can says, let's see, their instructions were really simple. Hey, shake the can. Spray liberally on surfaces. Don't be shy, spray more if needed. So I just did the spray more right from the beginning. Now, what I should have done is had a piece of paper or something back here to catch the stuff that missed, because now I've got grease on the bed of my truck, and so...
Learn from your mistakes.
Lesson learned, right? Alright, so we've got the white lithium grease here. We've got the grease out of the grease gun on that Zerks on the underneath side, so it's ready to go back on. So again, grabbing the handles, here's the little grunt, lift with your legs, not with your back. So I think the hardest part about this sometimes is those dangling keys. Alright, so once you get it set on there, you got to push down just like that, and it's going to snap into place, and then your pins should line back up again. Just like so, and she's ready to go. Now the one thing I will also do is the manufacturer recommends that you grease your jaws. So I will put some red grease on these jaws, and I'll also put some red grease on the sticky red grease on the kingpin of the trailer as well. Checking your roof is key. We're not even under trees, but I'm still up here just in case the wind blew something on there or something like that. But one thing I want to point out to you, and it's something that I've been keeping an eye on, I got my handy dandy pointer right here. So if you look on the slides, those are screw heads that are starting to back out a little bit, and the factory puts a Turnabond tape over the top of them. So I'm keeping an eye on those to make sure that if they break through the Turnabond tape, I need to do a fix. So every time I come up here, I give that an extra special look. Then I also look at all of the seals to make sure that all the way around there's no cracks from dry rot or anything like that. This is a relatively new trailer, as you know, so I don't expect there to be anything, but I still look for stuff.
This is the only time I can actually get him to sweep anything.
Not true. So a really critical area, everything on the roof's critical, but a real critical area to watch is right up by the front cap. This is where the rubber roof or whatever your roof is gets kind of sealed and closed. If you get a crack in here, believe it or not, just a small crack, air can get underneath it when you're driving down the road, and your entire roof will balloon up because it'll fill up with air. So that's not a good thing. But if that does happen, what you'll notice is like some rippling and ridges and stuff on your roof that weren't there before. So that's why it's really important to get up on your roof and check it. Now, if you're not able to do it yourself, then I would say hire somebody at least 2 or 3 times a year, 4 times a year to get up and take a good look at it. And if you're comfortable on a ladder but not comfortable climbing up, you could always put a ladder and just move a ladder around and look at it that way. Here's a tip for you, depending on how you do it, but this is the way I found it works great, is I take my water softener on our move day, I put it in a 5-gallon bucket. That bucket gives it a little bit more stability because it's just a little bit bigger on the base. And then that 5-gallon bucket goes into this clear container right here. That way it prevents any kind of water that might still be in there even though I drained it. And then behind this 5-gallon bucket I put my water hoses. That way it just kind of contains any water that might want to come out. And I always try and connect my water hose ends together. That also helps, so that's what I'm getting ready to do. Now the other thing I do is I bring all my water stuff up by the compartment. That way I can look at it and make sure that I've got every little component. And then of course I always double check, triple check when I do my walk arounds. Here's another tip for you. So this is one of those like pocket hoses. This is a 100-foot hose. Look how small it gets when it shrinks up. I use this for my black tank flush, and I also use it for when I need to wash the trailer because it's long enough that I can get around the entire trailer with this one hose and don't have to have a separate hose for it. So that's just a tip on my part.
Feel it in my bones, I can feel it in my veins. Hands in the sky, I can feel the winds of change. You live and you learn, and I hope I've seen enough to make something right, make up for what I've lost. I was down, but things are looking up. I wanna get high on you, caught by surprise by you. Want you to.
Okay, we're getting ready to do a pull test. I've seen this done a bunch of times on YouTube, but I also see a lot of people asking comments because their front landing gear comes up this way and then this one comes up. How do you do it? So I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. Now, the one thing I don't like about the way this is set up is the controls are inside the storage compartment, which is awesome, but I can't see the front landing gear and stuff while I'm raising them, and so Alice has to watch it. So she's going to go over and watch those as I start raising them up and tell me when they're good to go. So I'll explain quickly what I do. So you have to raise until the first one that moved gets all the way up. Then the second one, when it gets about an inch off the ground, you stop raising, and then you switch it over to extend, and then this one that's all the way up will extend first, and when it gets about even with the other one, that's when you stop, do your pull test, and then once you got a successful pull test, come back in, retract both those all the way up, and then you're ready to go.
So I got the TPMS started.
Good.
It's starting to read here, so we'll just leave that sit while we get ready to do the map. So I pull up my RV Trip Wazard here. I already did that in the house, so we could look at the from the DOJ and from.
Let me get the important stuff out of the way.
What's that? Grandpa
always said every good trip starts with a trip to the bathroom. So I just went to the bathroom before we left. So I'm good to go for a while.
In 5 minutes, he'll have to go again.
How am I doing on the back?
You probably got about 10 feet. Well, we made it, and it's 2:22, so we got plenty of time to get everything all set up and hang out for a little while because the weather is beautiful. So, gotta go because we've got to get this thing opened up and moved in.